Welcome to Conversations. I'm Robin Farr. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got another great show for you today. In the second half, we bring back my friends and my managers, Steve and Lori Cozart. For those of you who haven't been paying attention, I've actually kind of added to my career and I'm getting into the world of TV commercials, and they got me started, and I said, okay, let's put our money where our mouths are and see if this really does work. And I'm pleased to tell you I've had some successes, so we'll be talking with them about that. But first, it's my absolute pleasure to welcome Mark Kane. Mark is the owner of Tassajara Tune-Up and Brakes out in Black Hawk. And when I first thought about this, I thought, car show, I don't know anything about cars. And I thought, well, now I'm going to learn. So perfect opportunity. Welcome to Conversations.
Thank you, Robin. It's nice to be here.
It's great to have you here. When I first thought about this, I thought, well, you know, am I just going to be out of my league knowing this? And I'm really responsible for my own car. Times have changed, folks, and we gals are doing our own stuff. And I thought, this is my opportunity to find out really what's, you know, kind of the behind the scenes, if you will, of kind of keeping your car maintained and what's important. So first of all, let me ask you, Tassajara Tune-Up and Brakes is in Black Hawk, but the location is a little bit, it's a little tricky. So let's get that out of the way first.
Where if you blink, you'll miss us.
Okay.
We're running Camino Tassajara across from Black Hawk Plaza, near obviously the entrances to Black Hawk. We're set down a little bit. There's a big green Castrol sign up, but some of it's the building's been there so long that our normal customers, a lot of them just drive right past.
Where are you?
But we're literally right across from the entrance to Black Hawk Plaza.
Okay, so tell us what you do. I mean, if I need an oil change, I can just go to the local, you know, I don't want to give names out here, but you know, in and out 40 minutes.
Sure.
You know, but if I need something more, okay, I'll take it over to the dealership. But no, there is this whole fabulous thing in between. Tell us what you do.
We have two sides of the business. The first is the same as Jiffy Lube, that same type of service. We do oil changes, we do fluid flushes, transmission radiators, your air filters, all of those things that any of the oil change places do. What we bring though is we also have a mechanical side. We have mechanics on staff, we have bays and lifts, and we do a lot of brake work, cooling systems, anything light mechanical. Again, minor transmission services, those things. But we'd like to think about 80% of what the consumer really needs in services for their vehicle.
Okay. So what's the rule on the oil change? I've heard 3,000 miles, and then I've heard 5,000 miles. What gives?
Depends a lot on the kind of oil you're using and the type of driving you're doing. Most oil change places, and for good reason, will tell you 3,000 miles, 3 months. Because that's a generally recognized industry interval.
Well, and it's easy to remember.
Well, it's easy to remember, but also we don't want to tell somebody who's driving in harsh conditions that they can go longer. The bottom line is you can go longer. We use Castrol oil, which is about as good of a brand out there as you're going to find. Valvoline is another great brand. There are several of the top shelf suppliers. You can go 4,000-5,000 miles typically. We have problem recommending that because you may be operating in conditions, you know, that aren't good for your car and need to change it more often.
So how do you know then? I mean, if you're thinking on a budget, I don't want to go in too early, but I know once you see that oil light, you've kind of you missed a little something in there, and I hate to use that, but I do. I tend to think, oh gosh, there's the oil light, and then I look up at my little sticker, and sure enough, I'm 2,000 over what I thought I should be. So when do you really know where you fit into that?
A lot of it really comes with finding people you trust. We hope we're that type of an organization. And there are a lot of those kind of organizations. Most people in this business are great. You want to get someone you can trust and ask them that question. What does my oil look like? How did that filter look? Can I extend that? You know, does it look like with this type of driving, I could go 4,000 or 5,000 miles? That consultant might suggest you switch to a synthetic oil. If that's your lifestyle where you want to stretch that as long as possible, synthetic oil, you're going to drive more than twice as far on an oil change. It's going to cost a little less than twice as much.
Oh, so there's your value.
In the long run, you're better off. And again, if your lifestyle says, I just can't get there every 4,000 or 5,000 miles, I need to go 8,000 or 9,000, well, switch to synthetic. It's probably a better value in the long run anyway.
Okay. Now, another thing you guys offer, and I thought this was great because you're not going to get this at the Jiffy Lubes, is that you guys are into service.
Absolutely.
You will pick up and you will drop off the car. So, and I loved that. When I asked you about that, you said, yeah, whatever it takes to get the business.
We're just so thrilled we have the customers coming to see us.
Yeah.
But it does two things. It takes the pressure off the customer. If we can get the customer, and 70% of our customers are ladies. A lot of folks up in Blackhawk, in San Ramon, out to Windermere. It's easier for the customer if we can run them home. They can move on with their day. At least be at home where they have their email and their computer and they can work. And it's easier for us because it takes the pressure off of us. We can spend more time inspecting the vehicle, doing the work that needs to be done. It seems to keep everybody happier. So we probably run, I don't know, 4 or 5 trips into Blackhawk every day, 2 down to Windermere, at least 1 into San Ramon. We're happy to do it. We're thrilled that we can provide that service.
Well, you know, I think we all are trying to save money in these economic times, but I think time is very valuable, and that's the kind of thing that I would say, okay, yeah, that's that makes it worth it to me. When then should you take your car into the service at the dealership? When should you do that? I mean, versus coming to you guys.
Right, and again, the honest answer to that is the dealership adds a lot of value. Not only, obviously, if it's warranty, it needs to go back to the dealership because that's where you can get that done for free. Right. We provide a lot of value in the lubrication of your vehicle, the general maintenance of your vehicle, light mechanical repairs. SAE trained, well-trained mechanics everywhere can do that work. When you get to the dealership environment, what you're looking for there are those things that require that factory training. Hybrids are a great example of that. We're doing a lot of training right now with hybrid systems. Those vehicles can hurt you.
They can, so you don't want to try this at home kind of a thing.
And they can hurt your backyard mechanic if you're dealing with it, if they don't have the proper tools and training. There's where the dealership is adding value. The factory trained technician may actually cost you, again, much more per hour, but for some things they can do it in so many fewer hours that it's a better value to the customer. We're very upfront about that. We want to add as much value as we can with what we do very well. But when you get into brake systems, cooling systems, lube oil and filters, general maintenance, we can add that value. That's what we do.
So, and we were talking earlier about this, that when you go to the dealer, the service there's a lot of things you're paying for that they have the hoops that they have to jump through.
Absolutely.
So, that, you know, oftentimes union and all of that, which is great. And again, as you said, if you need something that's specific to that specific car, great. You don't want to, But with those kind of basics, the brakes and the air conditioning and the things like that, you guys can do it for a lot less because you don't have to follow all those rules.
Well, there's 2 levels of value. We can do it for a lot less because our overhead's a lot lower.
Right.
We can also do it much, much faster. And that's the real value of the whole quick lube model that emerged in the late 70s, was not that it was less expensive. It was. But the general consumer base got very, very tired of it taking a day or overnight to get their oil change at the dealership. And it created an opportunity for that quick lube industry to flourish. And it's still flourishing.
Well,
for that same
especially
reason.
when you're doing it, if you're maintaining and you're doing it fairly frequently, you don't have that kind of time. So that was kind of the appeal, the easy in, easy out. The part of that I didn't care for so much was I just want an oil change, and then I get somebody who I'm not sure is qualified telling me, guess what? Have you taken a look at your filter? I don't know. Maybe it needs. I don't know. And I kind of am looking for somebody I can trust to say, yeah, it's time, or no, you don't need to worry about that oil filter at this point.
Right. And that's one of those areas where we try to be different. A lot of the big chains, not to mention any names, run everything on mileage. You drive in and you have 62,000 miles on your vehicle. Their computer spits out this long list of things you should buy, whether it's an air filter or a tire rotation or a transmission flush, because you have this many miles on your vehicle. Well, the computer doesn't know you may have done those a year ago. You may not need them. Or your driving habits may be such that you don't need to do those things right now. We take the approach that let's look at the fluids. And I know you were holding it up like this guy's showing me a filter. We are going to bring you the filter. We're going to say, here's what a new one looks like. Here's what yours looks like. Here's our opinion. It's up to the consumer to make that decision.
And you'll say, I mean, obviously a new filter is going to look way better than the other, but I want to know, is it really necessary to change? And if it is, the answer is, of course. Nobody wants to end up in the middle of nowhere and have something have gone wrong because they didn't take care of something that costs $25, you know.
Correct. And the last thing you want to do, again, is make that next trip to the dealership and have that service advisor say, they sold you what? We just did that. We're going to be a better source of value for the customer. We're going to provide better service. And in the long run, we're going to make more money in the industry by seeing that customer 10 or 15 times or 20 times, not just that 1 or 2 times until they find out they've bought something they didn't need.
Right, well, and that's the idea. You're offering that kind of a more personal service. Tell me about when, I mean, I know we don't want to make the analogy too much of the car like the human body, because everybody does that. But we, you know, we tend to, with our cars, I tend to, and I think I'm speaking for a lot of my fellow, you know, Tri-Valleyans here. We tend to wait until something's wrong and then we bring it in. But is it like a checkup where we should be having it just a checkup every, you know, year, whether it needs it or not? I mean, what's the rule of thumb?
The oil change interval is a great time for a checkup. Our standard oil change service, we're going to check the air in your tires. We're going to check your tire condition. We're going to check your brakes, all your fluids, all your filters, and go through and give you a general idea of the health of your vehicle. That being said, one of our training issues we have with our technicians we go over, again, most of our customers are ladies. If a lady comes in and she says something doesn't feel right, it's not right. And that's the best indication. Don't argue with the ladies about their vehicles.
Do you love it when we come in and go, it's going boing, 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 and do you understand our way of speaking when we sometimes describe the,
not always.
But you know how to look for it.
But again, you know, most of our customers, you know, they're moms. They're in that vehicle. They are running on a schedule.
They know.
They know what it's supposed to feel like. And if it doesn't, even if they may not be able to articulate it in mechanic terms, if it doesn't feel right to them, it's not right. It's our job to help find out what it is that's causing that problem. But we never want to turn someone away and say, "Oh, lady, it's fine." She says it's not right. It's not right.
It's not right. Thank you. I tell you, sometimes you just need to be heard. I have a million things I could ask you, and we didn't get to any of them. I wanted to talk about American-made versus foreign and this whole hybrid stuff, but we'll do that at another time. What I can tell you is I've absolutely learned today so much, and I really feel like I'm going to now bring my car over to you because I feel I'm paying a little more at the dealer service department than I should, and yet I'm not. I need someone I can really trust, and that's that whole thing. It comes down to trust.
And that's the basis of the whole business. You need to be able to trust us to direct you to the dealer if that's what it takes, but help you.
Well, Mark Kane, owner of Tassajara Tune-Up and Brakes in Blackhawk, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Let's give some information. Check out Mark's website, www.tassajaratunup.com. The phone number over there is 925-736-3100. And I just found out a little something new about what to do with my car. It's great to see you. We'll have you back for a little more car talk. How'd I do?
I hope so. No, it was wonderful.
Not too bad, huh? I think we answered a few questions. Great to see you. And we've got plenty more conversations coming up. Don't go away. I'll be right back.